Hola, mi gente. In this Tuesday's episode, I will talk to you about boundaries and how difficult it is to have personal boundaries when you are a person with a disability. As many of you who follow this podcast in English is every Tuesday and every Thursday. You know, I'm a woman with a personal I'm a woman with a disability. I'm physically challenged. Talking about boundaries is also a way for me to talk about the fact that when you are a person with a disability, and especially when you come from an African country, it's very, very challenging for you to have boundaries because you know from personal experience that people have a tough time respecting your boundaries. And that the fact that you even have boundaries as a physically challenged woman, people are going to say she's very, very difficult. She despises people. It's very, very challenging to have boundaries, to say no. I don't want to do this. I don't feel like doing that. When you do that, people take it personally and have a tough time understanding it. How is it possible that somebody who's physically challenged can say no, can say, I don't want to do this? My experience, Miente, is that the people who have a tougher time even understanding, even comprehending, even accepting that you can say no to them are the people who are closest to you, who are helping you, who have helped you. You know, as a physically challenged woman, I need help. You know, I try to avoid it, but I need help to do all type of stuff. You know, I may need help to carry my groceries. I may need help to pick up the laundry when it's too much, stuff like that. So usually you need to ask for help. And when people know that and have helped you, it's very, very difficult then to have boundaries because the expectations, that's my experience, Mienta, you tell me. The expectation is that you owe them. You can't ever, ever, ever say, no, I don't feel like doing that. No, today, not today. No, this is not something that I like. Your preferences become very, very problematic. You can't say no. People have helped. People feel like they have given you something and that um, for the rest of your life, maybe I'm exaggerating a little bit, but you can't say no. You can't say no. And if you do, more likely than not, it is going to be a problem. And you're going to have to explain it. It's always difficult for women to have boundaries. It's very, very difficult. It's even tougher for women of color to have boundaries. It's even tougher for a woman of color who has a disability because the expectations is always that you have to take it, that you should even be grateful that people are paying attention to you, and that you can't say no. Growing up in Cameroon until I was 14, 13, 14, I never learned that I had the right to say no. I was always very, very stubborn, but I never learned that I could say no to somebody who had been nice. To me, it was obvious that when people are nice, then you do what they want. You know, it's a way to repay them in a way for helping you. Disability awareness, where I was born and when I was young, was there was none. And I don't think that in my milieu It has changed. There is still that thing where people feel that if you are a broken human being, a woman who can't walk, you can't have boundaries. Your preferences mean shit. They don't matter. Whether it is in your personal life, whether it's anywhere else. People don't have to deal with that. Miante, every time I take a plane to go to Cameroon, I have this experience. In the plane, when I get to the airport, if I'm given any type of preference, people take it badly. People don't take it well. I remember I had my cane, and it was the last time I went to Cameroon. And, I was basically going in front of the line. I was going in front of the line to clear the customs at the airport. And people are like, no, 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 no. Go back. And I was like, guys, I have a disability. My worst experience on the plane was, I think it was maybe 20 years ago. I was on a flight from Yaoundé to Paris. And this Cameroonian was traveling with two kids, and I had been given a seat on the aisle so that I could have more space. And he comes to me and says, my kids are seated next to you. Do you mind if we switch seats so that I could be seated next to my kids? And I said to him, sir, I can't. And he didn't take it well. He was like, are you very, very difficult? I'm telling you that I have my kids, I want to sit next to them. And, and you're saying, and you're telling me no. And Yente, I was tired. I didn't feel like saying to him, sir, I have a disability. I didn't say anything. And I was traveling with my brother, who was very, very close. And my brother didn't say anything. So we go through that. The flight from Yaoundé to Paris is about 6 hours. I don't think I went to the bathroom throughout the flight. I was so tired. I slept. I was going back to New York. When we landed, I stood. He saw that I was walking with crutches, and he didn't say anything. He just continued. So those type of experiences, Miente, show you how difficult it is. As a woman of color, saying no, standing out, especially with African folks, is tough because you're expected to be very nice, to be mothering, to be lovely, friendly. And if you say no, people start looking at you with hostility. Boundaries, miente. How? It's very, very difficult. It explains why people with disabilities are more likely than not to be the object of predation, to be sexualized very young, because when people do things for you, it's very, very easy for them to go there. Miente, with a person, especially when it's a woman of color with a disability. When she's a child, an African kid with a disability, saying no, it's extremely difficult. You can't say no. When somebody is nice to you, you can't. So how do you think the African child, the African girl with a disability, how do you think she reacts when a sexual predator decides that's the one? She is raised with the idea that she can't say no. And she knows that if she says no, more likely than not, she's going to be the one who's the problem. And when it's somebody that is close to her, it's even tougher. You always have to explain why you say no. When you say no, you need help. You're different. Gender, race, country of origin, all those type of stuff. Personal boundaries. Very, very hard. Even in your intimate circle, you have to explain your no. and your preference is, oh, no, if you dare saying no because of my disability, people are like, oh, no, but I understand. I've read books, so don't talk to me about disability. You're trying to make me feel guilty. Your personal experience, it makes people feel bad. Saying no comes with all type of shit. Taking it makes your life incredibly difficult. So the balance is very, very tough. You have the right to talk. You have the right to say no. But so many are just like, And in the next episode, I will talk to you about sexual predation. Why disability, especially in African women, makes predation not easy, but likely. Thank you for watching the episode. Please subscribe and share. You can write to me. The email is in the description of this episode. See you Thursday.